I remember I had a trainer I worked out with at the gym, and we did a lot of exercises where he would use kind of his force against my force to get me to isolate muscles and, be really kind of clear on what I was doing. And he used to always say to me, "It's not a competition, Pam. It's not a competition. It's a dance." And I remember not really getting it and kind of just being like, not understanding what he meant by that. Because I was like, yeah, it's a competition. I'm trying to, use as much of my muscle power here as possible. And in my mind, it was about kind of competing and beating, being better than. And I really didn't understand when he said it's a dance. I was like, no, I didn't get it. And it's because that's where I was at. I hadn't yet kind of expanded my consciousness to understand on a deeper level how everything is connected. And this illusion of being better than anyone else is really just an illusion. And it's the perception of our mind by kind of comparing and trying to find our intrinsic worth, our intrinsic value out of comparison to someone else or to something else. And that's where we derive our worth. And so that narrative in our brain that, am I good enough? Well, I'm good enough if I'm better than someone else, and I'm not good enough if I'm not better than someone else. And obviously, if we start to break that down, that's ridiculous because, life is incredibly complicated. In any given moment, any given day, any given activity, any given situation, there's an ebb and flow of who's better. And I knew that, but I hadn't really connected the dots and kind of figured out how to really apply that to myself in the moment. And so it kind of stuck with me. And then I, started meditating and started, working more on figuring stuff out inside of myself as opposed to just figuring everything out outside of myself, right? Like a lot of the ways that we're conditioned to solve our problems in life, to find happiness, is outside of ourselves. We'll be happy if our relationship is healthy. We'll be happy if we have that job. We'll be happy if we have that stuff. Which again, obviously is ridiculous. But in the moment, that's the narrative that we're kind of operating off of. That's our standard operating procedure. Is I'm happy if things are good, and I'm not happy if things aren't good. And it's our brain's assessment in the moment of whether things are good or not that determines whether we're happy. And I started to realize that wasn't working for me. There had to be a deeper solution to that problem. And so I started working more on my inner perception of things and my inner reality as opposed to trying to control my outer reality. Because there are so many things in our outer reality that aren't in our control. We can't control our spouse, for example. As much as we try, we want to control or change our partner. We can't do that. We have to accept them for who they are and work together to try to make the relationship better, but we certainly can't change the person. And there's just an infinite number of things in our life that pop up that are challenging. And back then, I looked at those challenges as negatives. Like if things went smoothly, it was a good day. And if I had challenges, it was a bad day. And I didn't realize at the time how my analysis was torpedoing not only my happiness, but also torpedoing my growth. Because over time, over the last couple of years of working really hard on these epiphanies, I realize now that every challenge that pops up is a blessing, no matter how painful, how unfortunate. It's an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. So all this kind of goes hand in hand, going back to the original kind of thought that life isn't a competition, it's a dance. And this whole concept of competition is an illusion. It's this perception that our brain creates that the person who wins first place is the only winner. And if you lose, you don't come in first. You didn't win something else. And it's not like one of those, participation trophies. Everyone, pat on the head. You get a participation trophy because you showed up. It's that every time we don't win, we learned something, or there's an opportunity to learn something. And there's a great quote that actually popped up 2 days ago, that everything unpleasant that happens, and losing, if we're trying to achieve first place and we don't get first place, that is unpleasant. So you just put all this effort in, and obviously our ego is invested in being first. And if we don't win first place, it is unpleasant. And whenever anything unpleasant happens, we actually have a choice. And the question is whether we're conscious of the choice or whether it just happens subconsciously. We have a choice of either getting wounded, and being unhappy is a wound. That's a symptom of a wound. So something unpleasant happens, we either get wounded or we get wiser. And it's our choice. Most of us don't go about our day with that level of consciousness that we consciously can choose when something unpleasant happens. We choose to be wounded. Most of us subconsciously are operating on this very subconscious, set of perceptions and analysis that automatically wounds us, and it doesn't feel like a choice. But it is a choice. It takes work to bring that up into our consciousness. But it is a choice. And so if we go back to thinking about life as a dance, thinking about harmony, thinking about grace, thinking about effort, putting in our best effort at all times. But it's not a competition, because if we don't win, we have a choice to learn. Every single time that we don't win first place, it was a huge learning opportunity, huge opportunity to grow and get stronger from that experience. And we know this. We know that you don't always win first place, and if you keep trying, you don't give up, your skill level is going up and you're growing. And it's not just in a physical, endeavor. Mentally, we know this as well, and spiritually. If we face our fears, we face our pain, and we really, really dig in and see what we can learn from the experience, as opposed to going into fight or flight and getting wounded, we have limitless potential to grow and evolve. So it's about that level of consciousness, thinking about life as this dance, where whatever challenge that arises in our day, it's an opportunity to take our skills to the next level, to find more strength, to find growth. And that's the dance. And it's not about comparing ourselves, our achievements, how easy life is. It's not about comparing that with anyone else. It's just our own life.